Welcome to the 49ers Camelot Show. Thank you so much for hopping on with us. We're excited to have you, and I'm excited to have my guest, Gina G. What's going on, Gina?
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.
Hey, my pleasure. We've been on some podcasts together. I think some other people's podcasts, and then I've been on yours a
Yep.
couple of times, I think. And one of
Mm-hmm.
those times, it was like right before the season. You
Mm-hmm.
had me and a couple of other 49ers people,
Yep.
and then some Rams content creators.
Yes.
And those guys were so arrogant. They were convinced that they were going to repeat. And I remember saying,
They were the
look,
young guys, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying, look, this repeating thing, like coming in as the defending champs where everybody's targeting you, it's a real thing. And I think y'all are about to find out. And they're like, no, we got this. And sure
Yeah.
enough, they had a rough year.
It's so rare too. I mean, like, how many teams have done it besides the Niners?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Patriots,
Mhm.
they've done
I was
some.
just
I mean,
gonna say
they're
them.
always like right there. And of course, the
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys years ago, but
Mm-hmm.
it's hard and it's a real thing. So I just remember thinking, all right, I'm gonna be nice here, but man, these guys are really arrogant. One of them has really made himself unpopular among 49ers fans on Twitter, but that's all right. We won't get into that. So
Yeah.
thanks so much for joining me. It's you are doing such a great job in all of the things that you have going on. Tell us
Thanks.
where we can find you.
Um, so I just started a new channel. Actually, not just, but December. Um, it was kind of real quick. Sort of jumped off. We met. Well, I guess we always sort of were like, Twitter friends, you and I, from Adam's channel, Driving to the Top Productions. That's
Yep.
when you and I first jumped on a podcast together. And I, we just had a couple of creative differences. And I said, you know what? Let me just start my own channel. And I couldn't really like fund it, but I was getting some help and, from 49ers fans. And I said, you know what? Let's just do it. So I created a logo like on Canva for like in like 5 minutes. I don't know. I say 5 minutes, but that's kind of what the logo looks like.
Right.
But I have it happening like right now through one of my co-hosts, which happy birthday, Rod, if I can for just a second. Look, I'm wearing my little Mardi Gras beads, 49ers colors. Happy birthday, Rod, my co-host, and he's helped me kick off the show on the channel. It's his birthday, and I just want to say it's my brother, my partner. But happy birthday, Rod. And I knew I couldn't have done all this without him, and also Dan the Man, but shout out to everybody on the channel. They're not all 49ers fans. And actually, one of them is a Rams fan.
Well, hopefully it's not that same Rams fan.
What's up, Ted? No, it's not. But you know how certain fans are kind of delusional, and we always give Dan crap about his, he's like, so what if at least we have a ring in the last 25 years, like, okay, you got us there. But he's like, so what, we're rebuilding. Yeah. And that we have a Falcons fan co-host, and we have also two Saints fans. So and me, Rod, and the Wise Soul are 49ers fans. So yeah, we just, we started off doing 49ers shows and also integrating their other teams. And then now we're doing NBA shows. But now that the season's winding down, it's OTAs. So
yeah, definitely. So
hey, that's my friend Unk.
Yeah,
he's a Philly fan.
Guys. Yeah.
No, he's not a co-host, but hey, I got to know him from Rod, and he's a good friend of mine now.
Good. And Antoine coming in.
He's a Rams fan
out here, another Rams fan.
Yay!
All right. Well, hopefully the Rams fans don't take over. Speaking of Ted, Ted said, Mark and Gina,
Yay! What
On
up, Ted?
fire. Look, I was with Ted just earlier this week, just a couple of days ago, I think.
Yeah.
And man, he had a Rams fan that just kept coming in and
I
really
think I know who that guy is. He's the major YouTube troll.
could be, but we had fun with him. It was all in fun. So we
Yeah.
teased him and he teased us. But
Yeah.
hey, let's jump right into this because the 49ers did kick off the OTA session this week. And on Tuesday, the session was opened up to the media. Now, based on reports, Nick Bosa didn't show up. Trent Williams didn't show up. These are voluntary sessions. No big deal. Nobody expects them to show up. There's a lot of 7-on-7 in OTA, so there's not a whole lot for offensive linemen and defensive linemen to do. And so that's not a big deal. Javon Hargrave didn't show up. I was a little surprised because this is his first OTA week with his new team. And so I was a little bit surprised by that. But the big surprise for me was that Deebo Samuel didn't show up, especially coming off of last season where he held out for a while or held in or whatever it was he did. And then he came in a little bit out of shape. And I don't know that he ever got back where he needed to be throughout the season. What did you think about Deebo not showing up? I see your cat in the background.
Yeah, that's what I was looking. I'm like, oh God. So yeah, I was trying to make sure we're on track. So about Deebo, you know what? That's a head scratcher for me, Mark. Of course, they're doing baseball. Yeah. I'm not sure what to make of it. Although, last season we had all that drama with the contract and everything, so we knew why that was happening. And let me just say, I know this is, old news, but I knew he was coming back. Everyone was like, oh yeah. But I was one of those people. I kept saying, come on, guys, he's coming back. He's doing all these. Him. Yeah, I was like, come on, this is the Niners. And they always did the contract shit way late. We all knew that. So if you guys just, shut up about it, but anyway, I think maybe they're just, maybe he's just pulling a Nick Bosa. I don't know. When I went to the last season, when I went to Levi's, when they had the open camp, training camp for all the people to come in and watch, Bosa wasn't participating in any of the because remember, he was just kind of coming back slowly, right? So he wasn't participating in any of the team plays. So he was just, and I took video, he was just kind of like, you could see, we're like really close because obviously it was first come, first serve seats. But I was watching him and he was just on the kind of like the sidelines doing his, and looking like a beast and everything. So, maybe he's just kind of like thinks he's like the Bosa special treatment, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to be, all bitchy, whatever. I'm not trying to call Deebo out, is what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying maybe he's like, hey, you know what? Hey, Shanahan, can I just, I'm not ready yet. Like, or maybe he's just like doing a separate thing. Didn't he post something on Instagram that he was doing something right now, like business wise? I thought I saw something.
I don't remember if I saw that or not, but that's very well possible. And I don't care if he's there or not, as long as he comes to training camp in shape, ready to roll. That's all I care about. And last year he did not come in ready to roll. So yeah, I mean, that Ted and I talked about this the other day that he came in late. And then
didn't put up the numbers.
Yeah, right off the bat in the first game, the first drive against the Bears, Trey Lance is moving the team down the field, and then Deebo fumbles inside the red zone. The 49ers lost that game. If he hadn't fumbled and they would have kicked a field goal or possibly even scored a touchdown, that could have been the difference in the game. Yeah. So, it's who knows what it is, but hopefully he comes in and everything is So D-Hop just got released. Really? I had not heard that. That's interesting.
My phone's over there, so I'm not getting. I'm holding out on the comments or the viewers to give us the breaking news.
Yeah, give us the
scoop. Bring
it. All right, so you probably have seen some reports from OTAs. Anything jump out to you yet? I mean, not a lot happens in OTAs, but anything that you've seen that you liked or didn't like so far?
Yeah, I mean, Trey Lance, I think I mean, I'm team or Trey, let Trey play, give Lance a chance, so I think with everybody saying, I guess I hate to bring him up, but Troll Cone, he did. I watched it. I was watching a video on YouTube, and of course, it skips the the next video plays, and it's Grant Cone, of course. And he did say some positive things about Trey, and I was happy. I was happy to hear that he did complete some passes, most of his passes, and that he looked the best. And I think it's just that his releases weren't as fast or didn't come out fast enough. But he improved. I think it's just that he hasn't had enough playing time. I mean, we all know that. So, 4 starts. It's not 4 years and a bust. You can't call him a bust after 4 starts, period, point blank.
Right.
So, yeah. He looks good.
And that's, a lot of people were saying that they could tell that there was some improvement in his delivery, that it was tighter, that his base was looking better, and maybe even that his release was a little bit quicker than it has been, which
than before. Yeah.
So those are positive things, and I'm glad to hear about that. But again, and I'm a big Trey Lance guy, but here's the thing. If he can do it now, is he going to be able to do it when the bullets start flying? Is he still going to remember this new way of throwing, this new way of footwork, those kinds of things? Yesterday, I wrote an article for 49ers Web Zone based on this interview that Grant Cone did with a quarterback specialist who kind of broke down some things that Trey does. And so it was a pretty interesting listen to hear this guy talk about it. I don't know if you happened to catch that interview, but so is there anything in OTAs over the next week or so? Because next week they have, I think, 3 OTA sessions. One of those should be open to the media. Anything that you're wanting to hear or see come out other than, hey, everybody stay safe. Nobody get hurt. Hey, Danielle.
Hey, Danielle. You mean as far as like injury?
No. Like any specific player that might really step up. So for example, we've heard some good things about Darrell Luter, the rookie corner. We've heard some good things about Ronnie Bell. We're going to talk about him in a minute. Anything like that you'd love to hear? Hey, I want to hear about Robert Bill Jr. doing something, or some Jair Brown doing something, or even one of the veterans.
Yeah, I mean, we talked 2K teacher. What up, Edmund Dantes? We talked about on my podcast, the only player that I really knew about is Jair Brown. So we talked a little bit about that. It might have been on actually Ted's podcast. And then watching, excuse me, how sometimes when you're talking and then your saliva kind of goes down too fast.
Right.
I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Ronnie Bell. Yeah, I heard some great things about him. So I'm going to be on the lookout. I mean, I'll be honest, like starting in the third round and everything. I'm just kind of like, I don't know these guys. Like, I don't really
Sure.
pay attention.
Yeah.
I was watching college football when I was doing the NorCal, excuse me, podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
When I very first started, because I was watching and paying attention to like Fresno State, Sac State, Cal and Stanford and everything like that. All NorCal, like from, Davis, Sac, all the way down to Fresno, right? But now it's just kind of like I'm only paying attention to 49ers and,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Trey Lance, Justin Smith, that whole draft class, I was like more paying attention to. So anyways, long story short, yeah, I need to like do my homework and, start paying attention to the rookies. But as far as the, players that need to step up, we re-signed Kinlaw. So
he wasn't a free agent. He's still
right.
But he's still
we extended him, right?
No, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, but this is his last season. He's going to be a free agent next year.
Yeah. All I know is we still have him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'd like to see what he does, because everyone's been on his 49er fans have been on his case, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, because he did not show up and show out last season.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like a bump on a log, So, and I know Miss Danielle has, that's her man. Drake Jackson is her man. I'm a huge Hufanga fan. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see, our cornerbacks really tighten, like our secondary tighten. So that's a very, very important unit that really needs to tighten up. So, yeah, I mean, because obviously our middle linebackers, we don't have Aziz Shire yet, anymore. Mm-hmm. So what are we going to do there? We don't have that trio, anymore.
Yeah, and that's going to be a good battle in training camp. Marcelino McCurry-Ball sounds like he looks good. Jalen Graham, the rookie, sounds like he's really looked good as well. So, and then they signed. I'm just learning to talk today. This is my first day.
It's early, okay, for us, right? Wait, you're on the Central Coast, right?
No, Central Time. So, like,
Central Time is what I meant to say.
Chicago
CST
area. So
yeah,
it's like noon for me. So
yeah,
I don't have an
that's
excuse.
still early.
I'm just stumbling over words for no reason, but
it's all good.
But yeah, I think that Drake Jackson, the hope is that he does step up and do some things. And Hufanga, I think that he's going to do some great things. But yeah, as far as the linebacker position, we are good there with McCurry-Ball, with Jalen Graham coming in. And then D Winters, they drafted him. Everybody's high on him.
Yeah.
But sounds like between rookie minicamp and OTAs that he came in not looking as good as Jalen Graham. So we'll see. Once he gets in shape, maybe he's going to look a little bit better. But let's talk about Ronnie Brown, because this is the receiver out of Michigan that nobody seems to expect to make the team. In fact, Scott McCloughan, the former 49ers GM, said that he really likes Ronnie Bell as a college player, but not as an NFL prospect. And so that concerned me. But in rookie minicamp, Ronnie Bell dominated. And so far in OTAs, he's dominated. The guy catches everything. So what do you think about this pick? Is there a chance that Ronnie Bell could make the team? And if so, could he make an impact? I think that Kyle Shanahan really wants that slot receiver. I'm wondering if Ronnie Bell might be able to be that guy.
You just don't know with Shanny, because even if you get with rookies, they don't even get much playing time anyway. Automatically placed in the doghouse for
Yeah.
whatever reason. If they don't live up to his standards, that's just the way it is. That's you don't know what they do to get in the doghouse, but they don't get much playing time, period. Like,
Yeah.
you see that with, oh God, what's that name? That the guy that played, did the run backs in special teams, that also plays defense last year. Samuel, not Ebucom. What's his name?
Samuel Womack.
Womack, exactly. Like, I really like him. I think he's going to have a bigger role, probably this year. But just rookies don't really have. It's really hard for them to get a lot of playing time. Is my point.
Right.
So even if they make the team, you're still not going to see them on the field that much. So it really depends on Kyle. I mean, this is where I kind of like. I know a lot of people. The people that are pro Shanny don't like to hear this, but he's egotistical.
Yeah, he is. And I think that he doesn't trust rookies. I think
he doesn't.
He has to see that he can totally trust them.
Yeah.
Like Elijah Mitchell when he trusted him. Now,
yeah, because we need lots of running. Sorry to cut you off.
Right.
We need running backs.
Yeah.
And the more you have, they get injured all the time. But it's true. But they do, because obviously they're running backs.
Right. Yeah. But you look at players like Ty Davis Price, who he hasn't trusted much. And then you look at Elijah Mitchell, who as a rookie, he was trusted. And so from all accounts, Ronnie Bell catches everything. He makes contested catches. He catches everything in traffic. And so I'm hoping that's the kind of guy that Kyle Shanahan can trust. So that's somebody that I'm hopeful for. Sounds like nickel corner Isaiah Oliver was the star of the OTA session on Tuesday. And he's the one that's replacing Jimmy Ward at nickel. And the 49ers are really high on him, especially Steve Wilkes. Steve Wilkes said, we targeted who we thought was one of the best nickel corners in the league, and that's Isaiah Oliver. So I doubt he's going to be an upgrade over Jimmy Ward. But what did you feel about that pick?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need that. Jimmy was kind of like, I was a big fan of Jimmy for a lot of years because, obviously he was our, longest tenured player, Now that he's gone, I mean, he left kind of on a bitter note. What can you do? He got, sidelined from his original position. So, with that being said, we're going to have to really rely on him. And if he's doing really well, and Wilkes is, now our defensive coordinator, we have to really get schemed enough where defense is our best identity, right? So we're known for our defense, then we're known for our run game, right? So if the defense doesn't gel and he has an eye for what I said earlier, right? We have to tighten up our secondary. So if he has an eye for that and then it fails, I mean, all we have to rely on is our middle linebackers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what Wilkes specializes in. So the hope is that he's going to make this secondary better. Let's talk quarterbacks for a minute.
Yeah.
What is your take on that? If you were Kyle Shanahan, are you doing what he has done and what John Lynch has done, which is declare that Brock Purdy is the guy? Or would you kind of hold back on that a little bit? Would you say, no, Trey Lance is the guy? Or would you do one of the crazy things like saying Sam Darnold is the guy? What if you're Kyle Shanahan, where are you going on this?
Yeah, you just never know. I mean, Kyle's been so he's been predictable in certain ways, right? everyone, you know, back to the whole like Jimmy thing a couple of seasons ago. Uh, I kind of felt like, you know, he was going Jimmy because Jimmy's the vet. They're used to Jimmy knowing what Jimmy was going to do, whether or not Jimmy was a great quarterback, which, you know, we all felt like he wasn't great, good enough, right? So I think with this, we still don't know enough about Trey. We saw what Purdy could do in Kyle's system, but he's not going to be healthy enough. I think they said he might be ready by the first home game. But if Trey, you know, is obviously healthy right now, right? Okay.
Yep.
So Sam Darnold is still learning the system, because I was just watching Kyle's, you know, post OTA conference or whatever from what, 2 days ago? Was it 2 days ago or
Tuesday?
Yeah. So what's up, Bebop? Kyle's saying that Sam Darnold is still, he's coming in acting like a rookie. That's what he said, acting. And because he doesn't know everything. Yes, he's like a vet, but he's still learning everything. So he doesn't know really anything. So how can you throw him in week 1, right?
Right.
I mean, you could play in preseason and, you know, like throw him in. So how do you throw him in week 1? Now, Brock isn't, to what we know now, isn't healthy for week 1. There could be a surprise. We don't know. But you start Lance, right? You start Lance week 1. Now, unless, or barring an injury, knock on wood, that doesn't happen, to Trey, you don't take him out for Brock. If Trey isn't on a roll, I just feel like you only take out the starting quarterback if there is an injury.
Yeah, and there
You
is
go with the
with
hot
Brock
hand
Purdy right now.
But remember Alex Smith and Kaepernick?
Right.
Like,
right.
I mean, that's the only like recent sort of thing I could take, or not recent, but like, you know, hot hand, or, I mean, yeah, go with the hot hand.
I mean, we saw this back in the late 80s, early 90s with Montana and Young. And we're going to talk some old school 49ers here in a second, which I'm super excited about.
Me too.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, Brock Purdy got his chance because the 2 quarterbacks ahead of him got hurt. Now, here's my concern over Brock Purdy. I don't know if you share this same concern, but my concern is that we saw him, and Brock was great last year, and I want him to succeed. My concern is twofold. One, that we only saw a small sample size, so we didn't even see him for half of a season. And then the other thing is now he has a serious injury to his throwing arm, so his elbow. So maybe he comes back just fine. There's actually a guy in camp right now at OTAs, and his name has slipped my mind, but he about a year ago had the same injury that Brock Purdy had. I think he was in the USFL, and ironically, the injury happened against the Philadelphia team in the USFL. And so he had the same injury, same surgery as Brock Purdy.
Wow.
And he's throwing the ball around now without any trouble. So that gives me hope. But do you have some concern there with Brock, or are you one of the ones that say, no, he's the real deal? You know, Lance aside, let's say Lance doesn't become Lance. I'm certain that Brock Purdy is going to be our guy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, is this sort of similar to, they say it is, like the Tommy John surgery? Can he throw like he did before? There's so many like variables. Is it comparable to like an ACL where like Jimmy just never was the same? And
good point.
Yeah, you know, he really wasn't. He was on a roll too. So, or, even was Jimmy as good as we thought he was? Was it
Right.
just,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many variables, right? Also, Jimmy came in when we got CMC, or you know what I'm saying? Like shortly after Trey went down, and then we acquired CMC. So Brock also had CMC, like there was just so many things going on, so many variables. So it's really hard to say what Trey can do with Christian McCaffrey. Oh, I just hurt myself because I'm so passionate. It's really hard to tell. So it's kind of like, does Shanny make gamble, right? Who exactly is going to be healthy? Who's going to start? Who's most effective in Shanahan's system? We all know that quarterbacks can be effective in his system. Probably you stick anybody in a system and they're going to have a few good games, he just has that in him. We just don't know if they can make it all the way to the Super Bowl without any injury or be Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not blaming him for that last thing. I'm just saying he kind of fucks up in the fourth quarter when you abandon your run game, or you're Richard Sherman and you blame your own defense. I don't know. Right, yeah. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show.
Yeah. Well, let's talk some old school stuff. When did you first start to really fall in love with the 49ers? Like, where were you? How old were you? When was it that you kind of started really getting into this team?
Well, Mark, that's going to have to be the 1981 season.
Oh, perfect.
Yep. It just so happens because, when your parents, and I got to give a lot of credit to my mom. She's the loudest 49ers screamer in our family. I mean, she just goes nuts. And oh my God. So I was, let's see, I guess 7, not because my birthday is in September, so I wasn't 8 yet. But yeah, she got me really into it. So, that whole season, when you're doing great, so you're obviously watching all the games, right? And that the catch game, I was so mad that me and my brother couldn't go, but my parents went with a bunch of their friends and 2 of my uncles and my aunt. And the 2 of my uncles, they stood in line in some sort of wet, rainy, muddy, line to get their tickets at Candlestick, right? So, because I guess that's how they did it back then. They had to stand in line, and we waited all this time to get those damn tickets. I always hear the story. But, people were crying, for the catch. Me and my brother were at, somebody's house, their bowling buddy's house. Nate and Lisa's house in San Bruno, at their apartments on, I think, Shelter Creek. Anyway, I'll never forget it. Anyway, long story short, we ended up partying in the streets after that happened, and I was just shocked. I was like, what the fuck is this? Everybody was just wild. They were going, yeah. One of my uncles was shirtless, painted, just like in front of the grocery store. Just people were walking in the street. There were no police. It was just insane. And I was just like, what is going on? And then the parade, I was trampled on by people. Like, I was like, Mom, I want to go home. Shut up. I'm watching Joe Montana. Like, but anyway, after that, just die hard.
That is so cool. So who's your favorite player of all time?
So it was Joe Montana for many, many years, but Jerry Rice, I have to go Jerry Rice. I mean, but if I saw Joe Montana, I'd be like, you're my favorite player, So I could be lying to him, but I would, I mean, I would say greatest quarterback of all time. I mean,
Mhm.
you, Tom Brady. Okay, just I never forget Inflategate or whatever, Deflategate, whatever the fuck it's called.
Favorite 49ers moment of all time?
I mean, the catch.
All right. Yeah, the little Gina G who was watching at home or
Yep.
watching at the friend's house.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Favorite 49ers game of all time?
Okay, in person or
Just in general. It doesn't have to be in person.
whoa, wow. I'll give you two, 1A and 1B.
All right.
Okay, what? Ooh. Okay, in person, the NFC Championship at Levi's against Green Bay.
Okay. Is that because they had been bad for so long and hey, we finally are hosting an NFC Championship game that hopefully Kyle Williams won't fumble in?
Yeah, because I'll get to that. And then at home watching, it would have to be, ooh, that's got to be a tie. Jesus. Oh, you got me here. Okay. Because I just thought of one. When I was answering, when I saw the questions, I was like, okay. That's good. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. I always take long to answer questions. Probably. Okay, it's got to be Kaepernick related. Okay, I was in Vegas with at the time I was married, and it was I was watching that Atlanta game, NFC Championship.
Okay, yeah.
But that's got to be tied with the catch 3 with Vernon, because I'm a huge Vernon Davis fan. So I was watching that too. And when he went, because I remember the Terrell Owens one too, right? And that one, oh my God. Okay, those 3 are tied. I just has to be. Yeah, all the catches.
The one with the Vernon post, that has to be up there. And I would say probably the younger fans would put that one up there. But that NFC Championship game in Atlanta, I was actually there. I wasn't at the game, but I was there for a conference in the large building right next to the Georgia Dome. And I was walking outside, and while I was walking, I could hear the buzzing. It sounded like millions of bees inside the dome. And so I was trying to find out, trying to think, okay, if it goes quiet, then I think the 49ers are doing well. If it gets really loud, then the Falcons are doing well. And of course I had my phone, and my phone, I was following Matt Barrows and Matt Mayoko on Twitter. And so anytime something happened that was tweet worthy, they would tweet it, and I would get the alert on my phone. So, or the text.
Yeah.
And so I was able to kind of keep up with what was going on. But to be totally frank, I sat in this conference and I don't remember anything about it because I was paying so close attention to the NFC Championship. Yeah. And you're I'm just glad I wasn't like the speaker because that would have been really hard.
Or doing a PowerPoint.
Yeah. So
you're like, next slide, next slide, next slide.
Yeah, let's hurry up and get through here. Least favorite. So we're going to move to some less happy moments. Least favorite player that everybody else liked.
Ooh, this one. Okay, this one's a really, really tough one. Okay. Least favorite.
Like mine would probably be somebody that beat up a woman or, hurt a kid or something like that.
Okay.
Or it could be, there was this one guy, gosh, what was his name? Nick Moody. Wasn't he a linebacker for the 49ers in the, I think that was his name. I said something to him on Twitter, and he was really rude to me, and I didn't even feel like I was being rude, so I decided I didn't like him anymore.
Yeah.
But that's pretty shallow, I know.
I'll tell you someone who I didn't like anymore, who I liked and then didn't like, but now I respect. Primetime.
Okay.
Because when he left to go to Dallas,
Mhm.
and then he was like, "Oh, I never really felt like I was at home with the Niners, and now I feel like I'm at home." And I was
Yeah.
like, "You son of a," you know. And then another player where I was like, "Did you really do what they say?" was Dana Stubblefield
Mm.
when he
Yeah,
got
he's actually in
caught.
prison.
Yeah, and I was like, "You son of a," like, "Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?" So I'm disappointed with him because I'm like, that is just disgusting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible thing that he allegedly did, and is serving a prison sentence because of it.
yeah,
Okay, so those are your least favorite players.
but I
Of
love Prime now.
yeah, I love
But
Dion.
I was so mad at him, so mad at him.
I loved what he brought to the 49ers, and I was
We
very
needed that. We needed that.
frustrated when he left. But when he tells the
Heartbroken.
story, the 49ers didn't really try to re-sign him. So I don't really know who's telling
Yeah.
the truth. But
Right.
so your least favorite 49ers moment of all time?
Kyle Williams, I'm coming for you. Okay. I was at that game at the Stick. Okay.
Oh, man.
I spent at that time, it was a lot of money, $200 or something like that for these tickets.
In the
and
rain.
in the rain, we're tailgating. We all had tents and umbrellas and whatnot. We were styling, right? I think I still have the sweater that I was wearing. I shouldn't even wear it. I almost wear it. I almost wore it to this. I should have to be like, I was wearing this. And he muffed it, and I was like, you, and not, yeah,
Twice.
Twice
Yeah.
again. And I was like, I was about to celebrate on the streets of Mission Street and 30th and 24th, and so we were talking about like, okay, so what are we going to do first, after they win?
Oh, wow.
And then we said we could have, like, after the Giants, like, we were just so ecstatic. Our hearts were broken, just broken.
That was
And
sad.
you want to see most of my times at Candlestick were heartbreakers. So yeah.
Well, they made it to so many NFC championships over the years, and you're going to lose some of those. You're going to lose, like one to Dallas. You're going to lose one to the Packers. You're going to lose some heartbreakers. And then there was that 1987 first round playoff loss, or divisional round playoff loss, against the Vikings, when they had no business losing that game.
Yeah.
And
people were heartbroken.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous. So
and
my
brothers got to see like the Saints game with Alex Smith doing the jet sweep, and then Cap running it in against the Packers. And so yeah, I mean, they got to see some great games. Yeah. I didn't.
So that's your most painful moment. What about your most painful 49ers game of all time?
Watching, like,
yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you didn't play in one, so
no, I'm like on TV or being there. I mean, it's got to be that one. I mean, it's that one. It's that
more
one.
So than, I mean, a year later when they lost in the Super Bowl. To me,
Super. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. No, I did have an answer for that. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. The Kaepernick against the Ravens Super Bowl. that one because I thought we were getting 6, right? So when I saw the Crabtree, the overthrow, I wasn't blaming Crabtree. I was blaming Kaepernick. And I was such a believer in Kaepernick. Like, I thought this is, like gonna go back on him and they're going to blame Kaepernick and this, that, and the other. And people were already saying there was such a division of the fan base of Alex Smith is trash. And then Alex Smith was the best thing that happened to him since, Steve Young, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That was a scheduled loss. I hear you. I hear you because the lights went out, the electricity went out, and then Ray Lewis, it was, he was getting ready to retire. I feel you. And then in hindsight, I was thinking, the fuck, the run game again, right? Why didn't they hand it off to Gore?
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, and
he was reliable.
Kaepernick probably scores on that keeper before Harbaugh called timeout. If you remember that season, they would take like to the last second before they'd snap the ball, and Harbaugh would call timeout a lot. They wasted a lot of timeouts, because they couldn't get the play off in time. And I think Harbaugh thought that was going to be another one. He didn't want to move back 5 yards, so he called a timeout right before they snapped the ball, which they probably they got the ball off before the clock would have gone out. And when you look at that play, it was a keeper, and Cap was gonna walk in. But that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
So
that was my answer for that one. Yeah.
And I have a hard time trying to discern which Super Bowl loss was the most painful.
Yeah.
In some ways, it was the Ravens Super Bowl because the 49ers had never lost Super Bowls. We don't lose Super Bowls.
Yes,
but then
that was
Chiefs
our first.
The Chiefs one, the Ravens one, at least they were terrible, and then they came back and almost pulled it off.
Right.
The Chiefs one they had, was 7.5 minutes and a 10-point lead. That one, to me, I think the Ravens
was a
heartbreaker
heartbreaker
more, but the Chiefs one's probably more frustrating because we're just spoiled. When you win 5 of them, you expect to win all of them.
I'll tell you what, Mark, about that one. I felt so stupid because after the third quarter, when the third quarter was ending, we were having a celebration for my brother because it was his birthday. We were at the bowling alley, having a nice little party and everything like that. We're surrounded by all his family and friends, everything like that we all know and love. I was crying happily, saying, "Oh my God, we're gonna win!" And they go, "Shh, Gina, stop!"
So you're the one that ruined it.
And when Fred Warner had gotten that pick, now I was wearing a Garoppolo jersey, okay, which was good luck during the year, okay. Stupid. I went to my bag, I pulled out my Fred Warner jersey after the pick, and I went like this, yay! And they go, "Why aren't you wearing that fucking jersey?" And I go, I don't know, because I thought it would be bad luck wearing a new jersey. They go, "You're so stupid."
Tough loss. I wasn't
then
like
I cried again when they lost.
I never was at a point in that game where I was crying happily because I was like, that quarterback on that other team, he's I do not trust any lead when Patrick Mahomes is on the other side. That guy is way too good. So
I learned my lesson big time.
All right, last question. Finish this sentence. If you could change one thing in 49ers history, it would be...
Not firing George Seifert.
Not firing him, or firing? So you wanted him fired when?
No, I didn't. Not They
Oh, so
shouldn't have
you wanted
fired
them
him.
to keep Seifert and not like when they hired, or they
They
fired
fired him
Seifert
too
and hired
fast.
Mariucci. Okay.
They fired I should explain. They fired him too fast. Like, why did they fire him?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they just go about like firing coaches. They shouldn't have fired Harbaugh when they did. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? They
Hmm.
fired George Seifert. Like, why did they do that when they did? Like, it was all stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. The Harbaugh one was horribly ridiculous.
Yeah.
The Seifert one, I think I remember Eddie DeBartolo fired Bill Walsh multiple times, and Carmen Policy would always talk him out of it, thankfully.
Yeah.
With the Seifert thing, they had won the Super Bowl in 94, struggled in 95, but still were one of the best teams. And then
Yeah.
in 96, when they hosted the Packers, and they have players like Steve Young saying, look at that, the Packers are running our offense, and they're running it better than us right now. And I think that was probably the thing that made Eddie kind of lose his mind. I'm guessing, because yeah, I was kind of torn on that, because I really liked George Seifert a lot.
Yeah.
He was part of every single 49ers Super Bowl
Yeah.
win. And so really liked that guy a lot, but he never got the respect that he deserved,
Right.
because he was in Walsh's shadow.
Yeah.
Even after he won his second Super Bowl, he still didn't quite have the respect that he
Right.
deserved. But all right, so that
So,
would be,
yeah.
that's an interesting one. Yeah.
Seifert, and then I mean Harbaugh. Like, I just feel like those two were fired too soon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, I don't really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mariucci came in 97, and the offense took a step forward under Mariucci, but I think the defense might have taken a step back once Seifert left. I'd have to go back and look at
Yeah.
that, but I remember they were back in the NFC Championship, hosting it, I think, against the Packers in Mariucci's first
Yeah.
season. That was the season that Jerry Rice was lost for the year, until he came back against Denver and then re-injured his knee. But yeah, well, this has been fun. I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking me on a journey back to young Gina,
Oh, I had a blast.
becoming a
I know.
49ers fan. Yeah.
I always
But
get so excited and talk so much about like the past. We could go on and on about so much history, with
yeah.
I still remember all the old songs and like, Tina Turner rapping and
yeah. Yeah, it's fun, because I don't live in the Bay Area, never have. And so
you couldn't tell.
I'm surrounded by Bears fans now. I
Yeah.
used to live in Oklahoma, so I was surrounded by Cowboys fans then.
Oh,
And
God.
when fans of other teams talk to me, they never talk to me about the current 49ers teams. They always want to talk about Montana and Rice and what was it like to root for that team and all of those things. And I was at that game in Dallas in 95 when the Cowboys were huge favorites because Steve Young wasn't playing, and Jerry Rice caught that short pass on the first drive and took it about 85 yards for the touchdown. That was, so times like that, that's what people in my life who aren't from the Bay Area always want to talk about, the old school 49ers. And so that's pretty cool that the 49ers have a lot of respect from other fans around the league. Gina, thanks so much. Tell us again where we can find you.
Yep, I've got a channel. It's GinaReppinDaBay Productions, but my show is called Sports Laugh and Chill. And it's really fun. We curse a lot. So if you can handle that, then you can handle it all. And we get there's always some sexual innuendos. So Caution.
All right. Well, thanks for the warning. And thank you for watching. Make sure you go find Gina and subscribe to her channel. And while you're at it, while you're on YouTube, subscribe to the 49ers Camelot Show. And wherever you're listening to this, if you're not watching, you're listening somewhere on Apple or Spotify or wherever, go ahead and rate, review, follow the 49ers Camelot Show. Thank you so much for being part of this. Bryant, what's up?
Hey, Bryant.
Jumping in here right as we're leaving. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. You can go back and watch this anytime,
Yes,
wherever
a lot
you
of
watch
fun.
or listen. Have a great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a great weekend, everybody, and go.